I'm sitting in my car in the clinic parking lot, and my hands are shaking so hard I can't even grip the steering wheel. On my lap is a laptop with an email that will end my career if I don't reply in 10 minutes. On the passenger seat is an eviction notice, bold red letters that seem to pulse in the late afternoon sun. And inside that building, inside is a dog that the world called trash, whose heart is failing because he spent 5 years on a 4-foot chain. The phone buzzes. My boss. Third call in 20 minutes. Through the clinic's glass doors, I can see Dr. Elias waiting at the front desk. Her arms are crossed. She needs an answer. The surgery costs $10,500. Barnaby, that's what I named him, after my sister's favorite storybook character, has a 15% chance of survival. Heartworm grade 4, septic peritonitis. His organs are shutting down. The laptop screen glows. Elias, you have until 5 p.m. to submit the revised claim report or we're moving forward with termination. This is your final warning. I look at the eviction notice again. 30 days. My landlord doesn't care that I've been a model tenant for 6 years. He cares that I'm $3,200 behind on rent because I've been paying vet bills for a dog I've only known for 9 days. The world would call this insane. A $114,000 a year insurance adjuster destroying his life for a dying animal. My mother called me yesterday, crying, begging me to be reasonable. My best friend stopped answering my texts. But here's what they don't understand. When I look at Barnaby, at those exhausted brown eyes that have seen nothing but cruelty, at the scar circling his neck like a permanent noose, at the way he tried to wag his tail even though it hurt, I don't see just a dog. I see my sister, Maya. I see the same hollow stare she had in her hospital bed when I told her the insurance company denied the experimental treatment. I see the same resignation, the same understanding that the world had decided she wasn't worth the cost. I wasn't there when Maya died. I was in a conference room arguing with a computer algorithm about a billing code. I chose the rules. I chose my career. I chose safety. And she died alone. The phone buzzes again. 5 minutes left. Inside that clinic, Dr. Elias is probably checking her watch. She told me this morning that she's never seen heartworm this advanced. She said Barnaby's previous owner, a man named Marcus Thorne, kept him chained in a scrap metal lot for 5 years. No shelter, no medical care, just a 4-foot chain and a name that meant nothing. When animal control finally seized him, Thorne didn't even fight it. He said, "Just trash anyway." 14 days later, Thorne showed up at the shelter demanding $2,000. He claimed Barnaby had scrap value as a guard dog asset. When they refused, he threatened to sue. That's the kind of man who owned this dog. That's the kind of world that decides what lives matter. Then it hits me. If I walk away now, if I close this laptop, send that email, keep my job, keep my apartment, I'm not just leaving a dog behind. I'm becoming the very person who let my sister die. I'm choosing the system over the soul again. The email timer ticks down. 2 minutes. My hands stop shaking. I close the laptop, I grab my wallet, and I walk into that clinic. And when Dr. Elias asks if I'm ready to proceed, I say the simplest, most terrifying words of my life. Do the surgery. I'm not walking away. But to understand why I was ready to lose everything, why I was willing to destroy my future for a 15% chance, you have to go back 10 days. To the moment I walked into Unit 412 of the county animal shelter and saw a ghost wearing a blue nylon collar that matched my sister's dead recital ribbon.
10 days earlier, I was still a ghost myself. I lived in a gray apartment with gray furniture and ate gray meals at a gray desk while reviewing claims on 3 monitors. Insurance adjuster. Sounds important. Sounds like someone who matters. But really, I was just a man who decided whether people's suffering was worth the company's money. My apartment had one photo, Maya at her piano recital, age 14, blue ribbon pinned to her dress. I was 3 years before the diagnosis, 5 years before I had to tell her that her experimental treatment, the one that could have saved her life, wasn't covered. The billing code was wrong. Some algorithm decided she was too high risk. The cost? $12,000. I had it in my savings, but I hesitated. I told her I'd appeal. I told her to wait. The appeal took 6 weeks. She died in 4. I wasn't there when it happened. I was in a conference room, arguing with a computer about a different billing code, a different life the system had decided wasn't worth saving. My mother called. I saw her name on my phone. I silenced it. I had a quota to hit. When I finally called back, Maya had been gone for 40 minutes. After that, I stopped feeling things. I showed up, I processed claims, I hit quotas. I got promoted. The grief was there, somewhere, deep, but I'd buried it under spreadsheets and policy numbers. I thought that's what moving forward meant. I thought numbness was the same as healing. I was wrong. The court-mandated community service was supposed to be punishment for a speeding ticket I didn't fight. 40 hours at the county animal shelter. I walked into the intake bay on a Saturday morning, and the smell hit me first. Urine, disinfectant, fear. The kind of smell that gets into your clothes and won't leave. The shelter manager, a woman named Carla with kind eyes and exhausted shoulders, handed me a mop. Unit 412 needs cleaning, she said. Dog came in 2 days ago. He's rough. Just do what you can. I walked down the concrete hallway, past the barking and the whining, and stopped at 412. The kennel was dark, except for a sliver of light from the hallway. In the corner, pressed against the back wall, was a German Shepherd mix, ribs showing, fur matted, and around his neck, a blue nylon rope collar, frayed and embedded into the skin. Blue, the exact shade of Maya's recital ribbon. My hands started shaking. I knelt down. The dog didn't move. He just stared at me with this empty, hollow look. I'd seen that look before, in the hospice, in Maya's final week when she'd stopped asking about the appeal. It was the look of someone who'd given up. I don't know how long I knelt there, maybe 5 minutes, maybe 20, but when Carla came to check on me, I was still staring at that blue collar, and I was crying for the first time in 3 years. "What's his story?" I whispered. Carla's face went hard. "You don't want to know." "Tell me."
His name wasn't Barnaby yet. The intake form just said stray, male, approximately 7. But Carla knew the truth. Everyone at the shelter knew. They just didn't like talking about it. Marcus Thorne owned a scrap metal lot on the east side. Bought the dog as a puppy to guard the property. But guarding meant a 4-foot chain welded to a post in the middle of the lot. No shelter, no shade, just chain and dirt and the constant clang of metal being sorted and sold. 5 years. That dog spent 5 years on that chain. Carla showed me the photos animal control took during the seizure, the circle of dead grass around the post where he'd worn the ground down to dust, the empty food bowl, cracked and sun-bleached, and there, tucked under the bowl, a red ribbon, faded, covered in dirt, but carefully placed, like he was guarding it. "We think it fell off a kid's bike," Carla said quietly. "He must have found it years ago. He kept it. Even when he was starving, he kept it safe." My throat closed up. The owner called him trash, she continued. When animal control showed up, Thorne didn't even argue, just said, "Take him, he's trash anyway." Then he left. We thought that was it. It wasn't? Carla shook her head. He waited 14 days. Then he came back asking for the dog, said he'd changed his mind. When we told him the dog was in medical care and couldn't be returned to those conditions, he lost it, said we stole his property. I stared at the photo, at that red ribbon, at the evidence of hope in a place where hope should have died years ago. Where is he now? Thorne. Don't know, don't care. The dog's safe, that's what matters. But she was wrong. Thorne wasn't done. None of us knew it yet, but he was just getting started. 3 days later, I was sitting in Dr. Aris's exam room with the dog. I'd started calling him Barnaby by then, and she was explaining why I should prepare to say goodbye. Heartworm, grade 4, that's the worst stage. She pointed to the x-ray. His heart looked like a tangle of white threads. The worms have been there for years. They've damaged the heart, the lungs, the liver. And there's an infection, septic peritonitis. His abdomen is full of fluid. Can you treat it? She looked at me like I'd asked if she could raise the dead. Treatment for grade 4 heartworm is $8,000 minimum. The infection adds another $2,500, and even if we do everything right, his survival rate is maybe 15%. Maybe. 15%? I thought about Maya, about the 40% chance the experimental treatment could have given her, the chance I didn't take because I was too afraid, too practical, too goddamn reasonable. My phone buzzed. My boss. I let it go to voicemail. It buzzed again, a text this time. "Fix the pediatric claim by EOD or you're fired. I'm not kidding, Elias." I looked at Barnaby. He was lying on the exam table, too weak to even lift his head, but his eyes were on me, watching, waiting. I had $114,000 in my 401k, my future, my retirement, my safety net. If I drained it for a dog that probably wouldn't survive the night, I'd lose everything. The phone buzzed again. "How soon can you start?" I asked. The eviction notice came first, a text from my landlord. 3 months behind, 30 days to vacate or I file. I stared at it in the clinic waiting room while Barnaby was getting prepped for surgery. 3 months. I'd been so focused on vet bills I'd stopped paying rent. Then Carla called. "We have a problem." "What kind of problem?" "Marcus Thorne. He's back. He's threatening to sue the shelter for $2,000. Says Barnaby has scrap value as a trained guard dog, and we're withholding his asset." I felt something cold slide down my spine. He can't do that. He's got a lawyer, a real one. They're claiming we violated seizure protocol. I thought about Thorne standing in that scrap lot, watching a dog starve on a chain, calling him trash, and now he wanted money for him? Everyone kept saying it. My boss, my landlord, my mother, Carla's lawyer. Just a dog, just a dog, just a dog. Like those 2 words made it okay. Like they erased 5 years of suffering. Like they meant Barnaby's life wasn't worth the fight. But I kept thinking about that red ribbon, about a creature so broken by cruelty that he still found something worth protecting. Just a dog. Just a soul that never gave up hope.
I'm back in the parking lot, back to where this story started. The laptop is open. The email is waiting. My boss has called 6 times. I close the laptop. The screen goes dark. Somewhere in the hard drive, an automated system is probably flagging my inactivity, forwarding my termination to HR, wiping my access codes. My career is ending in real time, and I'm not even watching. I grab my wallet. I walk into the clinic. Dr. Aris is at the desk, her face tight with worry. Do the surgery, I say. I'm not walking away. She searches my face. Elias, you understand the odds. I understand. I hand her my credit card. Do everything, whatever it takes. She takes the card. Her hand is shaking slightly. Okay, we'll start in 20 minutes. I walk back to my car. The laptop is still there, closed, silent. I pick it up, open the door, and I set it on the curb. I don't need it anymore. Day 3. Barnaby won't eat. Dr. Elias says this is expected, but her voice has that careful tone doctors use when they're trying not to scare you. I'm sleeping in my car in the clinic parking lot. My boss has stopped calling. That means the termination is official. Day 7. Seizure. I'm in the waiting room when Dr. Elias comes out, blood on her scrubs. We got him stabilized, she says, but his brain is swelling. The heartworm treatment is causing inflammation. This is the critical period. I ask if I can see him. She hesitates, then nods. He's in the ICU, hooked up to tubes and monitors. His breathing is shallow. I sit next to the cage and put my hand against the bars. You're not trash, I whisper. You were never trash. 14 days later, I'm sitting on the clinic floor eating a gas station sandwich when I hear it. A thump. Soft. Rhythmic. I look up. Barnaby's tail is wagging. Just barely. Just once. But it's wagging. I sob on that floor for 10 minutes. Dr. Elias finds me there, and she's crying too. 1 year later, I'm standing in a field I don't own, watching a German Shepherd mix chase a ball he doesn't need. Barnaby runs like he's never been chained, like those 5 years never happened. My life looks different now, smaller. I lost the career, the apartment, the 401k. I'm $14,000 in debt. I live in a studio that costs $600 a month, and I work at the shelter full time. Carla hired me, said I had a gift for the broken ones. The math doesn't make sense. I traded a 6-figure salary for minimum wage. I traded security for uncertainty. On paper, I lost everything. But every morning, Barnaby wakes me up by putting his head on my chest. Every evening we walk to this field, and he runs, and I remember what it feels like to be fully alive. The math of the heart never balances, and that's why it's the only math that matters. Marcus Thorne dropped the lawsuit. Turned out his lawyer was pro bono and quit when he learned the real story. Thorne disappeared back into whatever hole he crawled out of. I hope he thinks about that red ribbon sometimes. I hope it haunts him. As for me, I'm not numb anymore. I feel everything now. The grief, the joy, the love, the fear. It's messy and painful and overwhelming, but it's real. And Maya, I think she'd be proud. I think she'd look at Barnaby running in this field and say, "You finally got it right, big brother." If you believe some lives are worth the sacrifice, type "worth it" in the comments.